This animal was once strong and healthy. Its hooves would make the earth tremble as it grazed on grass along the plains of Marsabit County, but not anymore. Today, it walks as if its bones are cracking inside its skin. There is no grass around, and with every step, the cow is painfully moving closer to its death. Behind it, other cows follow, equally emaciated, bones protruding from the side of their backs. Even with a thick hide, you can still count their ribs. This is Rimesa location in Moyale sub-county, one of the areas hardest hit by drought 6 months ago. This woman is walking her animals around. It is the only way of keeping them alive. If they sit for too long, they will simply not stand up again. A pungent smell invites me and my crew to what would be a gruesome 6-day journey, depicting the cruelty of Mother Nature, the vagaries of drought in Marsabit County. Ten carcasses of cows belonging to Mzee Galma Halake are strewn by the roadside in Dambala Fachana. Halake, like many other pastoralists in Marsabit County, has lost over 180 animals. Most of them died as a result of the prolonged drought. The rains are here now, but the rate at which the animals are dying hasn't slowed down. If anything, it is even more alarming.
Yango manyawe 180 njao peke yake, ile ng'ombe kubwa 100. Hata mbuzi wakati nakuja bande mfua nashika katikati alafu nakufa yote.
Sasa umebakisha ngapi?
Sasa nakabakisha 5 nakata miti hapa napeleka nasukuma hapa DF, alafu nakata miti alafu nakula hapo tu.
These cows, he tells me, died 5 days ago, all at once, after a heavy downpour in Dambala Fachana.
Najua sisi maisha yetu ni ng'ombe na mafugo tu. Kama mafugo unakusha, hata sisi inakusha. Kuna kitu kingine.
Together with other pastoralists, Halake has made this tree his makeshift home. His remaining animals cannot move any further. They are weak and can no longer stand the drastic change in weather patterns.
Mafugo area hii tumekufa kabisa karibu 1200. Hata kuliko hii 1200.
Kuanzia lini?
Kuanzia mvua karibu siku karibu wakati mvua inaonyesha.
One of his weak animals has been resting for too long, and if it does not stand up, it will die. So Halake urges his colleagues to assist him raise the animal to its feet. A mature cow like this one ought to weigh slightly more than 300 kilograms, but by the look of it, this one can hardly hit that weight on the scale. Just before bidding farewell to Mzee Halake, one of his sons informs him that one of his beloved animals is dying. Halake says this cow was one of his best milkers. He wanted to sell it before hunger and starvation got the better of it, but it is too late. The cow died an hour later. As the cows die one after another, these people are slowly losing their livelihood. On our way to Ambalo, we continued to count more carcasses, most of them fresh, but others appear to have died just days before we got here. Mzee Gufo Halake is moving with his family and animals back to Ambalo, some 70 kilometers away. He had moved his animals to Rimesa, hoping to find pasture, but all he found here were dried shrubs. But the rains have started again, and they are causing more havoc. So he has decided to move back to Ambalo, where the drastic change in weather conditions will not cause him more heartache.
Siku 3 usiku na mchana watakuwa kwa barabara, alafu hii mifugo labda nusu tu ndio watafika huko, watakufa tu kwa barabara.
For 3 days, Halake will drive his goats, sheep and donkeys to Ambalo. Some are likely to die along the way, but for the communities here, there is very little option. the drought situation and sudden rainfall have combined to make life miserable for the locals here. For many, it is now a game of hide and seek with nature.
Kulikuwa na watu wengi kutoka Ethiopia, kutoka sehemu za Marsabit, kutoka sehemu za Wajir, alafu wanyama wengi, mifugo wengi walikufa huko, hawajapata usaidizi wowote.
In Ambalo location, some 200 kilometers from Moyale town, we encounter more animals, all dead. Maggots are quickly feasting on the flesh of the dead animals. We are told they died a few days ago. This area was once occupied by businessmen. They set up makeshift shops to cater for pastoralists who drove huge number of animals here in search of pasture. But when the rain started pounding, the animals started to drop dead, one after another. For a community that had lost thousands of animals due to drought, losing them now because of the rain has caused total confusion. Just what exactly is causing these deaths? Before we could find an answer, we decided to go further into the remote areas of Laki. And it was the case of the same script, different location. More dead livestock, all of them cattle. Vultures and other scavengers were feasting on the carcasses. Slowly but painstakingly, I counted the carcasses, one by one. In total, there were more than 100 dead animals. The stench of death here is just unbearable. There is a pungent smell that makes you sick to the stomach. 5 days ago, over 80 animals died here just when the rains started pouring from the heavens. In all, one pastoralist in a local village here in the sub-county of Moyale lost close to 140 animals. The sights and sounds were unbearable, and as we inspected the animals, we were bothered by flesh-eating flies and other insects. But we had to inspect all the animals in our quest to find out whether these animals were sick, had been attacked by wild animals, or had been shot by cattle rustlers. But there was no evidence of any of that. The owner of this herd is Dokata Elema Duko. He drove his animals here after discovering water in a shallow water pan. He, together with his extended family, had a total of 758 cattle.
Walipatwa na mvua hapa. Hapa walikuja na ngombe kama 300 hivi, 350 hivi. Kutoka 758 walikufa mpaka wakaleta 300 peke yake hapa. Lakini hiyo 300 hapa ngombe 141 walikufia hapa kwa hii boma.
Elema remained here with a total of 141 cows. He says the cows were too weak to move around and only fed on the little shrubs and thicket. One evening, as the month of April was coming to an end, it rained heavily. Elema woke up the following day and found all the animals lifeless.
Kitu ya kwanza anasema ya kwamba wao wanatumia chakula yao na livelihood yao inatokana na hii wanyama. Kwa vile hii ngombe wamekufa hawana chakula.
This phenomenon has left many villagers and herders in a state of shock, confusion, and even depression. We sought to find out from 2 experts what was causing these many deaths.
Especially in cattle and sheep, we have never seen such a death.
Ache Golicha is the sub-county livestock production officer in Moyale. He says he has never experienced such a disaster.
It has rained, but it is just scattered showers. Most areas did not receive anything. And you see, once it rained, people started moving. These animals have got empty guts. They don't have anything in their stomach. They are already weak. Once it rains, obviously there is extreme temperatures coming down low.
His counterpart Isaac Borolo is a senior livestock officer in Moyale. He understands the condition better.
Hypothermia is a condition where the body temperature of an animal just goes very low because of temperatures, extreme weather, temperature, too cold. So at that time, the animal sort of collapses because the heartbeat, the heart rate will go low, the blood pressure will also go very low, and then eventually the animal just goes unconscious and it dies. So in such a situation, it happens over a short period because of very heavy rainfall, which comes during the night. Even the owners cannot do anything. Any intervention cannot help at that time.
For Elema, this is a big loss. His entire livelihood has been wiped out. Confused, he tells me that he does not know where or how to start all over again.
Maisha yao umebadilika sana, na hata wazee huwa kwa sababu ya ng'ombe wamekufa kiasi nyingi sana, wameadhirika nyingi. Sasa wako na uchungu mingi. Hata mzee ameshinda, ako na baba yake, baba anasema ameshinda kuamka kwa sababu ya hii. So maisha yao imeadhirika kabisa. Sasa wamebaki tu hai kabisa, hawana mbele wala nyuma.
What would you put the losses at? Take for example a gentleman who lost 141 cattle. What is the value of one cow?
We calculated it to be over 3 million. 3 million Kenyan shillings. That is only on one side. He has lost a lot. Out of about over 700 animals, he is remaining with about 100 or 200 now. So the ones which died in one place, the 141, we calculated it to be 3 million Kenyan shillings.
After gathering some courage, he agrees to take us to where his other family members drove the remaining herd of cattle. We arrive at another location in Mbalo, almost 30 kilometers from the initial location where Elema lost his herd. And here, his relatives inform him that things are not any better. One of the animals is lying on the ground, quite literally taking its last kicks. Elema attends to it, hoping to raise it back to its feet, but it's all in vain. Disappointed, Elema walks another 50 meters from here, and once again, he encounters another animal breathing its last. Elema and his fellow herders can do nothing but stare at it helplessly. The animal kicks as if signaling for help, but there is little Elema and his relative can do. Dejected, they move away and watch from a distance as the animal took its last breath.
It is really alarming. If it would have been a disease situation, we would have intervened in terms of control, vaccination, treatment, and such.
If you go to some villages like El Lebor, you can't see any cattle. You will only see bones and carcasses, heaps and heaps. I think the situation now, we have lost around in the Mbalafachana area, en route to Sololo. When you enter the village, you won't walk in that village because of the carcasses. We were there the day before yesterday. So the situation, we have lost around 60% of our cattle now.
In Marsabit County, herders have somehow found a way to move on after being ravaged by drought and other harsh weather conditions. How does somebody pick up from that? Are they psychologically disturbed at some point?
Yeah. There is a man who is in Dambalafachana, just a village down here. He lost about 65 cattle and remained with one. So when somebody comes near him, he will always chase everybody with a knife. So there are some mental problems some people are developing. Across here, I think about 72 people killed themselves across the border. They lost more than us.
As we drove back to Moyale, we came across a group of herders from Wajir, searching for pasture for their animals. They have been walking for more than a week, and now, 300 kilometers on, they are yet to find pasture for their animals. Luckily, these animals can withstand harsh weather conditions. The herders and their animals turn right and disappear into the wilderness. As somber mood greets us in this little village in Mbalo, the community here has been directly affected by drought. These are the few remaining animals which have to be fed the same food that humans are consuming in order for them to stay alive. Halima's son is one of the victims of drought. The 13-year-old boy drove the family herd of cattle to Bandanrero in search of grass. Having stayed in the wilderness for 2 weeks, the young boy wanted to return home and replenish his food supply. He is said to have lost his way.
Alipotea kwa siku the 8th day ndio alipatikana. Akiwa amekufa.
Most parts of Moyale sub-county are experiencing rainfall at the moment, but as it has been before, there haven't been any measures put in place to harvest rainwater. Huge amounts of rainwater have hit the ground in the past 2 weeks, but all of it is going to waste. Areas like Funankumbi have experienced huge amounts of rainfall, bringing hope to the many herders in the area. But this hope will be short-lived. Once the short rainy season comes to an end, pastoralists are likely to experience drought as well as another period of hunger and starvation. The animals in this enclosure are too weak to walk long distances. Their hide is sagging because of losing a significant amount of weight. They have not had proper intake of pasture for months. They are now being fed leaves from trees and shrubs. This woman fondly attends to one of the cows. She searches for ticks and pulls them out one by one, and then caresses the animal's legs as if holding to her dear life. Another animal, also within the holding area, was beaten by a hyena the night before. It was too weak to defend itself, we are told.
Unashinda kutembea, ngini nakula maji na kufa na maji. Kwa hivi, sisi unatoroka baka laki. Unamalizika hata pande ya nini Badanrero. Unakusha, na tena naanza kutoroka. Unakuja pande hii pia. Pali hiyo walikuwa na ukosa malisho. Unarudi hapa, unakusha zaidi. Sasa ngombe yetu ni hii tu ile nyinyi naona. Naanza kusha kabisa.
Outside the homestead, more carcasses of livestock. Hypothermia has equally caused havoc here.
Mvua ni siku yake ni wiki moja tu takusha kunkusha.
Guyo Malicho Buri is a member of this community. At 70 years of age, he does not recall a season where drought has been so severe.
Jilali ushaona na ukame ushaona, hakuja na sampuli hii. Sasa ngombe unakusha, hakuna mzaidizi, chakula ya ngombe hamuna, mwalisho hakuna, mzaidizi hakuna, maji pia ni hivyo hivyo. Sasa tunafanya, unakosa la kufanya.
Komba Denge is a member of staff from the World Vision Kenya. He tells me that herders and their families have been straining to get food as animals can no longer produce milk and their meat is not good for consumption in their current state.
Mvua ni chache bado, chakula nyasi haijatoka, so ngombe wana chakula, hata kama maji itapatikana kwa sababu nyasi wataendelea tu kukufa.
Na ni muda gani unafikiri nyasi zitaanza kuonekana zikimea?
Nyasi mvua ikiendelea tu hivi, baada wiki 2 hivi inaweza mea na wanyama pate chakula.
Vila sisi naangalia, mvua ni siku yake ni wiki moja tu takusha kunkusha. Kipita hiyo wiki, sasa tunarejea mvua ile mpaka miezi 3 ngine hawezi pata mvua.
Minutes after giving us an interview, Mzee Guyo rushes to attend to one of his cows. The animal has been completely battered by starvation. Guyo and his wife insist the cow is not sick, but has been affected because of lack of green pasture. His homestead had over 100 animals. Today, only 40 are alive. But he says he has not lost hope. He is certain the few animals remaining will survive hypothermia.
Hii ngombe, hakuna njia yote mimi nafujaribu kutafutilia hawa malisho. Unahamisha na kwenda baka Badanrero, unakushia huko, tunakopa au huko ni sijui ni mgonjwa ama nini, unarudisha pande hii, kafika hapa unaanza kumalizika namna hiyo hiyo tu, lakini si ugonjwa. Sina dhani mgonjwa ni njaa tu, ni chakula ama maji.
The couple tries severally to get the animals to stand up, but they are unable. Guyo's only regret is seeing his animals suffer. He says he wishes he could spare it the anguish by slaughtering it.
Muda huu wote umeona ngombe wako mmoja wanakufa. Je, unasikiaje kwa roho yako?
Mimi tunaomba, mimi ni Mkristo. Tunaomba Mungu sana. Mimi naomba Mungu sana. Mimi hapana weza fikiriwa kama hiyo mambo yangu. Mungu ndio unafikiriwa mimi. Kwa hivi mimi nafumulia tu, nangoja ya Mungu. Hata ikiwa moja nabakia mimi ama 2, hiyo tu ni kwa mbego, Mimi naweka abdi yangu, yani roho yangu unaweka kwa pande ya Mungu tu.
The race for pasture in Marsabit has gone a notch higher. Several households have had to use the services of home guards just in case they come under attack. But that has not stopped the animals from perishing. This group of herders had hundreds of animals when they started their journey in search of pasture 3 months ago. Today, they only have 30. Their journey back to Bandandrero, 200 kilometers from Funankumbi, will take them more than a week. It is therefore anyone's guess how many animals will arrive at the final destination alive. North Hor, which is 194 kilometers from Marsabit town, remains one of the hardest hit during this year's dry spell. We started off at 7 in the morning. The sun already hot. Along the way we encountered crossroads, but we were alone and had no one to give us directions. This road construction signboard, which has been blown away by crosswinds, offered no relief. We took the straight, dusty road. The scenery is breathtaking, and it changes with almost every 10 kilometers passed, from dust to ballast to rocks and eventually to sand, while the horizon turns blue in color once in a while. One wonders just how would a beautiful place such as this be a source of serious torment to those who live here. We arrive in North Hor town just as an exercise to distribute food to affected women is coming to an end. The last time they received their share of relief food from the government was 2 months ago.
Kitu alikuwa inasaidia hawa hakuna shamba yao ni mbuzi, gamia na gombe. Sasa hiyo yote inaendelea kukusha.
Sasa hivi uliwapatia chakula jana na leo. Mara nyingine watapata chakula ni baada ya muda gani?
Labda baada ya miezi 2 ndio inapata. Sijui vile rais ndio tatuma kitoka huko.
Today they are only getting maize, not more than 5 kilos each. No cooking oil and no beans. They have to make do with this. And for a large family, this is only a meal for a few days.
Mahindi ni kafu na hakuna mafuta, hakuna maharage. Na ile alikuwa anapendesha rais akumbuke atumie sisi mafuta na maharage. Sababu watu iko na shida. Hiyo shida maka na maka.
Kwa pande ya national government chakula inakuja almost monthly inakuja. Lakini ile kiwango ya chakula yao ni kidogo zaidi hata kuliko ile county inapeana. So mara nyingi hata wakati chakula inakuja wakaaji wanashindwa hata kugawanya kwa sababu wakisema ni mahindi wanajaribu kujipimia na korokoro ama ile mkebe inakuwa hata ni kidogo kuliko korokoro moja.
The other bags of maize in the store will be delivered to another location where women and children are also in need of food. The people of North Hor have not seen raindrops since mid last year. Because of the severity of the drought cycles, locals have never kept cattle here, only sheep and goats. But those two have been wiped out ruthlessly. There were carcasses and bones all around the village. Like their counterparts in other areas of this vast county, they have lost everything. And they are an angry lot. Early this year, government officials landed here in flamboyant fashion and held a baraza where they promised to double the delivery of food items, medicine and water. But the North Hor member of County Assembly says it was all a show.
We managed to get 3 CS here in North Hor. If I'm not wrong, in the month of March. There was the CS for devolution, there was the CS for livestock, there was the CS for water. And we gave them full information about the predicament that we are in. They promised us animal feeds will be provided 4 times what we had been receiving before. But on the side of food for human consumption and the animal feeds, nothing to the expectation of their promise has reached us up to now.
Food is being distributed sparingly.
Chakula ambacho kinaletwa hakitoshi na hata kile kinakuja haina muda rasmi ambapo wananchi wanaambiwa kwa muda huu mtapata chakula kiasi, mjipange kile mmepewa mkule kwa muda huu, kwa sababu kile kinakuja ni kidogo na mara nyingi ni chakula tu inaweza toshea kwa nyumba watu waweze kupika ama waweze kuishi nayo kwa siku 2-3.
What mostly angers the people of North Horr and by extension the entire county is that there is no political will at the moment to end their suffering.
The President of the Republic of Kenya, the Deputy President, the governors in the Republic of Kenya, they are every day on the radios and televisions campaigning everywhere in this country, and none of them is mentioning about the drought that is threatening or is wiping out the lives of the people and their property. Nobody is mentioning them. It is too unfortunate. We even told the CSAs here when they were there that what the president said will be doubled is insignificant because people are getting something like a quarter kg, and a quarter kg, if it is doubled, is only half a kg, and half a kg cannot feed a family. So we even told those 3 CS that what the president promised, even if it's done, is negligible, cannot help anything.
Hata sisi iko na councillor, iko na councillors, iko na bunge, hata kwa macho yetu tangu unachukua nini kura yake hajaona. Ni usema kweli, bunge yetu ni sisi bado ona macho.
For the animals, the government through relevant departments had embarked on a mission to distribute hay as supplementary feeds, but to the surprise of the herders, they are being forced to purchase the hay.
Naona hiyo nyasi hii natoka Nairobi, moja ni 400, moja inauziwa moja ni 400. Haya, sisi na kulisha ng'ombe mingi.
Kwa nini mnauziwa na serikali ilikuwa inaleta bure?
Bado sisi hata watu ya malori naleta hapa, naleta hapa nausia sisi moja ni naona hii hata naona wakati napita picha hii ni 400.
Na hiyo itatosha ng'ombe kweli?
Natosha namna gani? Hata mmoja atoshi.
We didn't get any hay up to now. We have requested, but there were promises. We never got any hay.
Our understanding is that there was tons and tons of hay that was flagged off in Nairobi to come to Moyale.
It did not reach Moyale. Hay did not reach Moyale. We only got the range cubes and the drought mash, which were bought by NDMA and I think through the European Union. Those are the only things we saw. We never saw any hay up to now. A bale which is sold in Moya at 70 bob is sold here at between 400 and 500. And a goat can only buy probably two hay bales, which can only help one cow. You cannot sell a goat every day to purchase hay.
Marsabit County is classified as an arid and semi-arid area. Most of its land is barren and not useful for agriculture, but it also turns out that keeping livestock is not the better option either. This is North Horr, one of the farthest areas you can ever come to in Marsabit County. I'm in a village called Durte, and here I found a community, probably 139 households living here, and they're all staring at starvation right in front of their eyes. There is no food and no water. Hunger has literally taken the lives of many here, both humans and livestock.
For those people who are living with their livelihood is animals, it's now becoming serious just because what they are depending on is these animals, and these animals is now collapsed and they are in a serious condition.
While livestock is the source of livelihood for many here who rely on meat, milk and even sale of animals to cater for their other needs, including educating their children, questions are now being raised as to whether communities here are overstocking livestock.
You know, we have issue of offtake and issue of livestock culling. Culling normally borders proper management. Offtake in this area is a situation where the pastoralists just wait for other organizations say government or non-government organizations, to come in, buy off, buy their livestock. And at that time, the prices offered are so little, very low prices. Say like 15,000 for an animal. If it would have been sold at its right time, would have fetched 40 to 50,000. So why wait until it is 15,000? It's not logical at all.
Migration of livestock from one location to another has increased competition to an extent that even regions with pasture, which were usually spared for tougher times, are now being used as grazing fields by herders from Wajir in Ethiopia, even before the drought becomes severe.
Livestock movement is not controlled. We have livestock moving from Ethiopia into our area. We have livestock coming from other counties which are bordering us, like Wajir County, and from even other sub-counties like Northor sub-county, Saku sub-county. And we also do likewise when we have big problems. We also move into Ethiopia, we also move animals to Wajir, just like that. So if you can have a very good control, such that every person is in charge of his grazing area, then in that way we can control the number of animals that this land can hold.
Experts now say pastoralists have to rethink how they graze their animals and how many stocks they should keep per household. In Godoma Didiko, villagers have started practicing pasture enclosure, which ensures they safeguard a certain acreage of land to be used only during difficult times. Outsiders are not welcome here.
Every month we capture 5.5 acres of land, and now this is work for 6 months. That is around 20 plus acres of land. And this place again, it can accommodate, let's say, between 50 to 100 weak livestock.
Access to water remains the biggest challenge in Marsabit. If there was plenty of it, pastoralists would not have to walk long distances with their animals in search of the commodity. Grass for the animals would easily sprout from the ground, and the livelihoods of these people would improve significantly. But surprisingly, a lot of the problems here are man-made. La Pendera in Laisamis. The vegetation and the barren lands are similar to the ones in Moyale and Marsabit. No water can be found underneath the soil, but one only needs to look up and see the miracle that has transformed the fortunes of people living around this area. Just recently, World Vision Kenya constructed a water collection point at the foot of one of the hills, and once rainwater is collected, it is stored here. This is one of the most successful projects that I have ever encountered, the construction of water tanks right in the middle of Lependera in Laisamis in the county of Marsabit. Now these two huge water tanks can each hold over 500,000 liters of water. That's 1 million liters of water every rainy season. It is a project that was undertaken by World Vision Kenya, and it cost only 8.6 million shillings. Now obviously the construction of these water tanks here must have involved a lot of technicalities, but it was all born out of some simple thinking. Tapping rainwater from the rocks and letting it flow using gravity and into the tanks, and eventually over 120 households right here in Lependera can benefit. Now you can imagine what the national government as well as the county government would have done with just over 20 water tanks like these ones. When it rains, rainwater flows downhill and collects at this point, which was constructed using cement to form a funnel-like structure. The water then flows using gravity into a large pipe and into the storage tanks. It is a project that has seen the community here survive on water that was collected from last year's rainfall. Over 100 households are now benefiting, and they include school-going children. The water is used to cook their lunchtime meal, meaning they don't have to miss school. They also quench their thirst using the clean water.
Since we go to that rock catchment, we can feed them because there is water throughout. Unlike before, when sometimes there is a shortage of water, and it is very hard to cook for them frequently or every day. So now that we have water, we can feed them day by day, every day. So even the landing becomes easier because you teach people who are not hungry.
Marsabit is a county dotted with very many hills, Had this project been emulated across the county, there would be plenty of water, not enough, but adequate to flow in taps. It would even be possible to irrigate some of the enclosed grazing fields so that animals do not have to walk long distances. The water could even be used to irrigate land for agriculture, and maybe some of the herders would shift from animal husbandry to farming.
Even at this time of drought, when even many communities around them are really struggling to get water, I've realized for them things are okay. They are going on well. Their normal school programs are running as usual. Even at the village level, community members are not as such strained to look for water because they have enough water.
The skies above have all turned grey, and the people can once again rejoice. Women have begun preparing and cleaning their shallow water pans. They are readying this area before the rains start and will be joyful when the pan gets full. They will use the water together with their animals. It is, however, not clear how long the rains in Marsabit will last. But what's clear is that the current rainwater pounding hard on the ground is all going to waste. And a few months from now, the vicious drought cycle will start all over again. For Mzee Guyo and many others like him, this rain provides them with an opportunity to restock. But sadly, the people of this county, the county leadership, and even government agencies know too well that another loss awaits him months ahead. Nimrod Taabu, NTV, Marsabit.